The data point here is the yards per attempt on 0 graded throws. So essentially, in theory, the throws that we deem expected by quarterbacks, whether it's screens, all those kinds of things, routine quarterback throws, they're not created equal, because those plays can generate a small amount of yardage, a big amount of yardage, have incredible success or not. And when you start looking at it over a big sample size of numbers, you get to see the schemes, the offenses that do have a lot more success than others. And it's not going to shock anybody that number one on this list is from the 49ers, and number 2 on this list is from the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy. 7 yards per attempt and 6.6, which is more than half a yard per attempt, higher than any other quarterback in the NFL. Both of them belong to the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. This is a data point that shows Kyle Shanahan's cheat code of an offense at work.
Yeah, I mean, Garoppolo has been near the top of the league in yards per attempt the last several years. I think it's always been a data point that gets thrown out there as to, it's not just Kyle Shanahan. You still have to be able to operate in this offense. And, Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard and some guys hadn't quite got there. But Brock Purdy was top 5 in yards per attempt from week 13 through the playoffs. And again, you have to have a certain level of competency. I think a lot of it comes down to, pre-snap, knowing where you're going with the football, which isn't, the easiest thing in the world, but a great data point to illustrate, the genius of Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, it's crazy because we've made this point repeatedly, and you're right. Usually it's yards per attempt as a raw number that gets thrown out there to illustrate just how successful this offense is. But this, I think, is one that goes a layer deeper or a step deeper than that and tries to point out that, look, it's not just executing this offense and that's what you need to do from a quarterback point of view. It's on the throws specifically where we're qualitatively saying that the quarterback effectively isn't really doing much, right? He is delivering an expected throw. Now, he still needs to make the read, identify the right guy, etc. But when he's making an expected throw, this offense is generating significantly more production than any other offense in the NFL. Like the worst guy of the two, Brock Purdy, is still gaining more than half a yard more than any other quarterback, and Jimmy Garoppolo was gaining more than a full yard more than any other quarterback. And that's, number 3 on the list is Jared Goff, who Ben Johnson was the guy we were saying is maybe the best offensive coordinator in the NFL right now. I guess that's if you don't include Kyle Shanahan, who technically is also the offense coordinator for the 49ers. But this is showing that Kyle Shanahan is still the king in that area.
I think the interesting thing, too, is I think the importance here is only going to continue to grow. We'll get more into, Mahomes in a bit, but with a lot of teams now that, against these elite quarterbacks, you're not supposed to blitz because they'll dice you up. Realistically, you want to drop 8 a lot of the times and do what, the Bengals and Lou Anarumo have done to Josh Allen and other players as well. And we saw last year the Chiefs kind of counter to, limited pressure, a ton of guys in coverage. You need to be able to dial up winning plays where your average depth of target is 5 yards or less, but it's on the coach at that point to, dial up yards after the catch, figure things out. And again, obviously Shanahan's always going to show up well there, but I think across the league, you got to have winning plays, explosive plays where it's not actually coming down to getting a guy open deep. It's creating, blockers and getting guys in space and doing different things because, you're seeing more and more coverage players, more and more too high. That is the counter.
And we talked yesterday on our injury show, which I would encourage you to listen to if you haven't already. Brock Purdy is maybe the most fascinating guy in the NFL in terms of a guy coming back from injury that we're excited to watch heading into the season. So much to sort of factor in when that whole decision is at work. But the big one being he was so successful last year in a relatively small sample size. Are they going to give him the kind of room to prove that he can do that again? If he struggles coming back from this elbow surgery, are they going to give him the room to get through that and get to the other side, or are they going to make that decision of, look, effectively anybody makes this offense work. So until you are 100% healthy or until you show that you can do it again, we're going to go in a different direction and give it to Trey Lance or Sam Darnold or whoever it is, because as much as pretty much everybody's patience has worn out with Sam Darnold, I don't think there are many people that don't think he's capable of putting up pretty big numbers within this offense. If the 49ers have to turn to Sam Darnold because Brock Purdy's elbow doesn't look right at the start of the year, I don't think it would be a problem.
really don't either. I mean, I actually wrote for an article that I think came out today about some of these camp battles, including the Niners quarterback. Darnold, the last from week 12 to 17, actually played some really good football. I think he was also top 5 in yards per attempt, but had, I think, 9 big time throws to 1 turnover worthy play. Like, was playing very well. If he steps into this offense, I think Kyle Shanahan can make it work for a month or however long he needs to until Brock Purdy's ready to go.